most powerful Lexus of all time.
That's not true.
That's
Most powerful
not true.
RX of all time.
That's what I meant to say.
Well, that's just not true.
Do they? Right, that's how I feel.
Welcome to Downshift, everyone. My name is Matt.
And my name is Paulo, and we just got done spending the week with the Lexus RX 500h F-Sport Performance.
This is the sportiest Lexus RX that has ever existed, and I'm going to walk you around everything that you need to know.
Yeah, then we get behind the wheel and talk about some of the standouts that we had for the week. Let's get into it.
But before we dive into the main event, let's talk about some of the funky little odds and ends. Like for one, with the car in park, and if I floor it, the car is not going to rev. Of course, this has to do with the hybrid system. It's in electric mode, so why would it rev for no reason? And in your settings, when you go to illumination, you do have custom ambient light colors. There's some preset ones that you can see here. Afterglow is really cool, but I've got custom set, and it's actually pretty robust. You can even see it. I've got it all the way maxed out for brightness. It's here, it's in the door, it's across the dash. It's pretty robust. But this is the fastest and most performance-oriented RX, so I want to get into sport mode, and I want to do it quickly. There's no physical buttons down here to get into sport mode. What you have to do is go to this little 3-dot icon, 6-dot icon, and then your drive modes are kind of hidden over here. It's not super far away, but it's a little bit more cumbersome than having a physical button. And I bring this up because you do have a physical button for a drive mode, but it's a drive mode that no one will ever use. This is trail mode. And yeah, I don't know who's using trail mode on their Lexus RX, specifically the 500 F-Sport Performance. But at least we still have Mark Levinson audio, and it's still awesome. And at least we still have climate concierge, which is fantastic. And we've got auto settings for our heated and cooled seat, and even our heated steering wheel. Pretty nice, very luxurious touch. But we also have the Toyota Lexus staple, Egg View. For those of you, I've gotten comments in the past, this is Egg View, by the way, for those of you that are asking. It is a 360 perimeter scan from within the car, kind of crudely rendered, but you can also see it from a bird's eye view, which is also fairly useless. But you still have great 360 cameras, as we'll talk about later. And we talked about the Mark Levinson audio, that's for media, but you also have this menu item here. This is active sound control. It's kind of pumping in synthesized exhaust to give you a more sporty feel. Again, it's an electronic sound generator. So I have it on low. You can turn it completely off if you don't want it, but you can also set it on high, and it's something to behold in high. And you do have your cup holders over here. They don't look particularly interesting or they're hiding anything, but they are. They've got removable rubber bottoms here, so you can take them out and make it easier to clean. And you've got this button labeled push, and when I do that, the floor of this raises up. So if I've got a longer water bottle, I can push it down and make it a little bit more secure. That's a thoughtful touch. And the last little odd and end is you have seat controls here because we have electronically powered rear seats. So I can select to fold the rear seats from the front here. And the nice thing is I don't have to worry about headrest catching on the back of the front seats, unless, of course, you have this all the way back and all the way tilted back. But I can also raise them back up if I so choose. But with all those little odds and ends covered, let's zoom back out and talk about what this is and what it competes against. This is Lexus's mid-size SUV. It's unibody based, so it's not like an off-roading SUV, but it's focused on efficiency, luxury, and comfort, as most Lexuses should be. And it competes most directly with things like the Genesis GV80. But now here in the 500 F-Sport Performance, it's got the most power that it's ever had, and now it's pretty close in terms of power, at least, to a BMW X5. So then, speaking of power, what do we have going on under the hood? Well, the 500 F-Sport Performance gets the 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's their hybrid system, which means you get 2 motors. And the net output is 366 horsepower, making it, again, the most powerful RX ever, and 406 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 then is good for the mid 5 seconds. And it's still fairly efficient too. The EPA says you're going to get 27 mpg, but we outperformed that on our Lakeshore Loop as we typically do and got 31.7 mpg. So it's the most peppy RX. It's still not quite as peppy as some of the more performance-oriented Europeans, but it does feel a lot more performance-oriented than it has in the past, while still being fairly economical fuel-wise. So I think it's a win. Another place it's a win is in terms of the drivetrain. You don't have a CVT here anymore like we do in some of the normal RX hybrids, but we have a 6-speed automatic here, and we have direct 4 all-wheel drive. It's like an E all-wheel drive, but they call it direct 4. And in terms of weight and dynamics, this is the first time that they've really tried a concerted attempt at making the RX sporty, but it is still a Lexus. You can tell it still kind of wants to do Lexus comfort luxury things more than sport. But you do have adaptive variable suspension and you do have a rear steer module. It's subtle, but at low speeds the turning radius is pretty impressive, very wild. Really, from a performance perspective, the only thing that lets it down is the 235 with Alenza tires. They give up a little bit at corner entry, but the steering is really light, kind of devoid of any field, but the seats are pretty bolstered and it does make a fairly concerted attempt to be sporty, although if you want something truly more sporty, you are going to want to look at the Europeans. But this Lexus RX shines where it always has. Even with the more performance-oriented options that we have here, it is still comfy as hell, it is still quiet as hell, and the transmission, the 6-speed, it's noticeable at times, but it is still a very smooth, quiet and refined driving experience altogether, and we'll talk about that more at the end of the video. And then touching base on something a little bit more subjective, the styling. Now what we have here is our tester draped in iridium, which is the best silver I think I've ever seen. It looks spectacular in bright midday sunlight. But in typical RX fashion, we have a bulged nose, we have a gradiented spindle body grille, we have L or check runners with triple beam LED headlights, we've got LED fogs down beneath with a more embellished lower splitter. Our F Sport has a front fender badge here, and down beneath we have 21-inch satin black finished wheels that look spectacular with the iridium silver. Backing out, we do have a pretty swoopy profile from the lower door, and even including that floating roof design on your C and D pillar. Around the back, our taillight is a full-width gradiented effect with the Lexus L's, and we don't have any exposed exhaust even for our F Sport here. But leave it down in the comments if you prefer this iridium silver and black, or if you'd prefer that incredible copper crest that we had on the LC500 last year. And then we'll talk about something a little bit more objective, the cargo area. Now, of course, we do, as you would expect, have a powered tailgate. We've got a button for close and a separate button for lock. I always love to see that. But with the seats up, we're looking at about 30 cubic feet of space. It's a nice, easy transition that's flush here. And we do have some brushed aluminum with some illuminated Lexus detailing and F Sport off to this side. There is a spare tire underneath the floor, which is a great touch to have here. We've got a 12-volt outlet, a hanger over here, and another place for an outlet over here. And we can fold the rear seats electronically from the trunk, which is a great touch, and that brings almost 47 cubic feet of space. Now the thing is, that's not a huge cargo capacity number, but it's a nice wide opening, and it's going to be relatively easy to get things in here. It's just not going to have quite the same amount of cargo space as you would see in a GLE or an X5 or maybe even a GV80. It's hard to call this space impractical, full stop. And then we'll check out the rear seats. It is a fixed door handle here with an electronic release. The door doesn't quite open 90 degrees, but it's still probably pretty easy to get people and things in here. We don't have a rear window shade, but we do have kind of a micro suede door card with the contrast Cabernet stitching, textile covered speaker grille, and the same kind of Cabernet leather, really supple electronic release. If this ever fails, you can pull it out this way, and that is the mechanical failsafe. We'll talk about these seats right here. There's a button down here that works as a power recline, which is really pretty nice. But I'm gonna step in, I'm 6'1", and I've got plenty of space for my knees here, plenty of foot room here. I also like the fact that the carpets are also Cabernet lined to match your interior here. Just as you'd expect from Lexus, just fantastic leathers, suedes, and all those really nice materials. Again, great knee room. Headroom is a little bit tighter, but even still at 6'1", I'm not quite hitting my head or my hair, so I can fit. If I was wearing my hat, it would brush a little bit, but it's still pretty decent, even with our panoramic roof that we have here. A couple other features, speaking of that, we do have vents, and we even have a dedicated climate zone back here, so 3 zones of climate. We've got USB-C chargers, and as you can see, we've got 3-level heated and cooled seats in the back here for our outboard seats. So not a bad place to spend time in the back of the RX 500. And then jumping up the cabin to the front seats. Door card, same materials, same design, very, very good. The seats themselves are unique here to the 500 F Sport Performance. They're the more sporty, bucketed seats. The bolsters are a lot more aggressive. They feel really good. They hug me really, really well. We also have F Sport embossed into our headrest here, but the same beautiful kind of like dark, rich Cabernet red with the black two-toning here, some of the contrasted Cabernet stitching, but they're perforated. They're 3-level heated, 3-level cooled. We talked about the climate concierge thing. We also have 2-level heated steering wheel here. And then just taking a minute to appreciate the overall cabin experience, and how could you not in a Lexus like this? Some of the most exquisite leathers and Alcantaras that I've tested in recent memory have been in Lexuses, and that is no different here in the F Sport. One of the things that is different for the F Sport here is we have a more alloyed look center console and across the dash versus the wood that we had on the RX 450h Plus, the plug-in hybrid. But we do have a very padded center knee rest, which is really, really nice. Again, beautiful diversity in textures, materials, colors. The Mark Levinson is fantastic. The design is really well integrated and immersive, the way it catches the ambient light at night. The build, the fit and finish is fantastic. We've got semi-physical climate controls. They are baked into the screen mostly, but they're always there, so it feels a little bit easier and more ergonomic to navigate. The thing that I don't love as much are these little touch-sensitive pads here on the steering wheel, but we'll talk about that in a second. Then speaking of tech, let's talk about it. It all starts and ends kind of with this head-up display. I shouldn't say ends, but a lot of stuff is going on in this head-up display, and it corresponds to these things that I mentioned before. Now, obviously you can see there's arrows here, but they correspond to different commands. And these controls over here on the right-hand side are for your adaptive cruise, your driver assistance suite. Okay, fine, I don't generally have to make a lot of updates to that, but this side is your media controls. And the issue that I have, sure, it corresponds up here, it's a little distracting, but I can get over that. But when I want to go to next track, that's this button here, if I just press it, it's not going to go to next track. I have to put my finger on it, wait for it to register, and then hit next track. I don't know about you, but I leave my stuff on shuffle a lot, and I need to get through a lot of songs, and it's just a little bit more annoying than I would like. But anyway, moving forward, we do have a fully digital instrument cluster. It's nice. It feels plenty modern. It feels like some of the fonts and some of the graphics are a little bit new. It works pretty well. And then what you're seeing here is your eyeball reader for your Lexus Safety Sense 3.0 or whatever the newest system is. And it works well. You've got active lane keep assist, adaptive cruise, that sort of thing. It does ping pong a little bit in your lane, but more or less it is helpful. It doesn't automatically lane change for you, but it is still nice and a nice feature to reduce fatigue on longer highway journeys. So I still appreciate the driver assistance stuff here. But over here is your main event. This is your big 14-inch screen. It's your Toyota or Lexus connected services. So you've got nav, you've got over-the-air updates, you've got dual Bluetooth connection, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. You've got some great 360 cameras here. I really do like these. You've even got a button here to wash off your rear windshield. But we'll throw ourselves into park. We still have a digital rear view mirror, which is fantastic. And in our little RX icon here that looks like an RX, we do have our energy flow, because it's a hybrid, of course, so we can see exactly what's happening, where power is being regenerated, where it's being deployed, and that's just kind of fun. So from a tech perspective, I have everything that I could need here in my RX. And last thing we'll talk about before we get with Paulo and go for a drive is the price. Now the 500 starts at $65,000. As tested, we've got some kit added to ours, so we're testing at $75,000. Now you might think, generally speaking, the most sporty one is the most expensive. But remember, this has the plug-in hybrid 450h in the lineup for the RX, and that is the most expensive by a lot. That starts at $70,000, so a full $5,000 more than where this sporty 500h starts. So with that, let's talk a little bit more about the performance and the value and what our thoughts on the pros and cons are with this. Hey guys, real quick, Matt here. Just wanted to say I hope you've been enjoying the video. If you have, would really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it does go a long way in helping us get access to cars sooner and get access to manufacturer engineers so we can get more information on the cars and get you more information so you can make better decisions. So would really appreciate you hitting that subscribe, like, comment, the whole YouTube thing. But with that, let's get back to the video. You were close. You somehow got led astray.
Dude, I do like, there is some wheel spin. There it is.
It's the most powerful RX of all time.
Yes.
Of all times. So tell me what stood out to you, good and bad.
Yeah, I guess I'll like hit on the powertrain right away. You just mentioned most powerful Lexus of all time.
That's not true.
That's
most powerful
not true.
RX of all time.
That's what I meant to say.
Well, that's just not true.
Right, because the LFA exists, and
RCF,
the IS 500, the RC 500,
LC 500.
How about we
just
again?
list Lexuses now for the rest of the video?
How about we just restart here?
No, I like it. Leave it in.
All right, so on the powertrain, if you're in eco mode or normal mode, I think it just struggles a little bit to get into power. It has to downshift a little bit. You have to get into boost, so there's just a little bit of lag. And in a performance car, it's just not really what you're used to or accustomed to.
Yeah.
Things that I really liked, the rear steer is incredible. I've said it before.
Love a rear steer.
I love a rear steer.
Go to the grave with the rear steer.
It should be feel like it should be incorporated into most modern SUVs. I think it's probably one of the best, I guess, more common features of like the modern times now, which I really, really enjoy.
The rear steer is good. Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt.
Yeah.
Before you go on to your next point.
Yes.
Because the rear steer is really good at low speeds in parking lots.
Yep.
Really aggressive turning circle, and then at higher speeds, it's basically invisible, which is what I want from it.
Yeah.
You may continue.
I think it's extremely quiet and comfortable. I think they did a nice job with the suspension. The seats are very comfortable. You have good isolation from the road noise in here. The quality of materials is really good. I think they did fairly well with that.
Yeah, all that stuff to me is like Lexus hallmarks, Lexus staples, the luxury, the refinement, the quality.
Yep.
And they hit that here while still bringing the added performance and the added pizzazz.
Right.
So it still remains an RX.
Yep.
Which is crucial.
Yes, which is crucial, as we'll circle back on at the end. Little foreshadowing by that. The infotainment system and like UI UX isn't necessarily new, but I really like how they incorporate like the most used climate control buttons right into the screen at all times. It's just easy to interact with, honestly, this center screen.
No notes.
No notes. Okay.
Continue. You're right. I agree.
You kind of took me off guard.
You're shook up now.
You always have comments.
You're shook up.
No,
I agree with you. It's good. It's good. The thing that's not as good is this.
Yeah. Okay. So dislikes. I kind of touched on it, but it's like it's not as quick as some of the competitors for being their performance, quote unquote. And obviously, like I just mentioned, the fastest Lexus ever produced.
The fastest Lexus of all time. Yes, for something that says F Sport and performance, it has the same horsepower as a base X5, which we'll get to later.
To have a 4-cylinder be in the same realm as F Sport and performance is kind of just a little bit silly.
Yeah. At least they didn't call it like RXF.
Right. That's true.
I get it.
MPG, so 26.6. It's not great. I was expecting better, especially compared to some of the competitors.
You're expecting better than 26.6 in the fastest Lexus of all time?
I mean, it's also a hybrid. So yeah.
No, but yes, I agree.
And like, BMW has 2 more cylinders, and you're essentially getting the same MPG, if not better.
That B50 is a cheat code.
Yeah. So, I think there's just like some ease of use stuff. Like some people would say hat on hats. It's a hat on a hat. So,
such as?
So, the steering wheel buttons, they just don't really make a lot of sense, do they? Right, that's how I feel. And did they need to reinvent the wheel with opening the door? Like,
no.
Once you're used to it, it makes sense, but it's trapped multiple people in this vehicle.
It's trapped each of our wives.
And I don't know, does that say more about us as society, or does it say more about Lexus trying to reinvent something that didn't need to be reinvented? It's like, focus on what the customers want, or become customer-centric.
Now you're starting to sound like a marketing conference. It's a door handle.
All right, well, I don't know why you had to go on that weird tangent about the door handle, Matt, so let's continue.
What else outside of the door handle?
Yeah, so I mean, I think just like...
Where are we now?
Dude, rear steer. This is why you love it. This is why you get it. Look at that. Who else is doing that in the game outside of the Hummer EV?
And like a lot of German.
So I do like that this is going to be lower maintenance than some of the other competitors, and you're going to get better resale value. I like the way that this thing looks. It's extremely comfortable, but let's wrap it up here. Would I get this vehicle? Hard to say. Probably not. I just think the X5 offers, if you're into something that's performance, more sporty, I feel like how could you not entertain that?
Yeah, I think...
Say words now.
This is my time to shine now. This is Matt's rant corner.
Matt brings us home. We're on third base.
So we're almost there, guys, I promise. So when we look at what the RX, this F Sport Performance 500h is, it starts at mid-60s, and it has about 360-ish horsepower. Those are the same numbers as where the X5 starts. In my opinion, if I truly wanted a performance-oriented thing in this class, I would go the X5 route. So I wouldn't look to the 500h F Sport Performance. If I wanted the most luxurious, the nicest, the most reliable, really efficient SUV in this class, I would go the RX. This, to me, even with all the stuff that they've done, which is objectively good, this still, to me, feels more Lexus than F Sport.
Yeah, agreed.
It feels more Lexus than performance, which is fine, because that's what I want an RX to be. And they didn't go too far with the suspension. they didn't go too far with like, you know, aggressive rah-rah stuff. You can turn off the engine sound synthesizer or whatever.
Right.
But if I wanted something fast, if I wanted that performance aspect, I might look at an X5. So I guess my roundabout point is there's other RXs in the RX lineup that I think are better RXs. And with that, thank you to Lexus for letting us have a go. Unless you had anything else to say.
No, I think just like knowing that if you were to get this, it like you're getting more of the comfort features of a Lexus versus like the performance features. They're bread and butter, so to speak.
Yeah. This is still good. I still like this. But if it was my money and I wanted an RX, I would have a different RX.
Yeah, what would you get though?
If I had a little bit more money, I would go with the plug-in because it's very, very good. If I was stretching to do this, I would go with just the normal RX hybrid because that's going to be really efficient and still all of the best things about Lexus. The ride, the quality, the interior build and everything.
If it don't look
the
as good
reliability.
as this.
Well, put some wheels on it. I don't know.
With the black
With all the
Lexus
money
brakes.
you save, put some wheels on it.
Right, yeah.
So, I don't know. That's my opinion. Leave yours down in the comments as usual. So, thank you to Toyota and Lexus for letting us have a go.
Thanks guys
Thank
for
you
watching.
and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye guys.